All right. I hope everyone has their green tea. As I was just saying, in the last couple of days, I've been really focused on putting together some models, some concepts from everything I've been learning in the last 7 or 8 months or so of doing extended meditation, of studying personal development, spirituality, all the programs and courses and books and texts and ancient wisdom and all these different things. What I noticed was there's patterns that come up, certain patterns that have that can really be interlinked, interrelated, all those different things. And so I thought the patterns that are coming up consistently, I decided to couple them together and bring them into a model and a bit of a presentation that you guys can not only apply in your own life, but hopefully continue to remember, so that whenever something comes up, you can go back to these sort of fundamentals and sort of recognize where is it you can create a shift, and how is it you can start to notice some deeper truths, right? There's always a deeper level. There's a deeper truth in all these different things. And so these will sort of be triggers and reminders of what's true, how to go deeper, how to get the real answers that you're after, instead of being in that external world, right? One of the sayings that I've been adopting is that our ego can't get enough of what we don't actually want, right? So the things that we're chasing, whether it be success, whether it be money, whether it be safety, all the things that we're chasing in terms of fame and whatever, you'll never be able to get enough of what you don't actually want. Deep down, you don't actually want those things, right? It's just a pattern of safety, a pattern of security, a pattern of significance, a pattern of trying to feel enough, all those different things, right? And so when your ego is chasing those things, it really doesn't satisfy anything within you. This is why you always want more, more, more. And as Wayne Dyer says, where is the peace in the belief that more is better? Where is the peace in that, right? So it's a pleasure to have you here. Barbara's having hot chocolate. Awesome. All right. Shall we get started with this presentation? I've done a few slides for you guys. I don't do slides very often, but I thought this was something special. So I coupled together a few things. I don't know how it's going to pan out. There might be a few things that are missing, but right now this is what feels aligned. And as I go, I'll test and tweak, and I'll get your feedback of a few things. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this pans out. Can you guys see this? This is my incredible presentation. Awesome. I can see the chat here as well. This is my awesome presentation. I changed it to the 4 truths. And the 4, so I've condensed it a little bit and shifted it around since my post. But this is what I'm calling now is the heart-based business code. It's everyone who's heart-based, who has a business. This is sort of the code. And I've come up with 4 truths. You can almost, I was thinking this morning, you can always call them like 4 chambers. You know how we have 4 chambers of the heart? These are like the 4 chambers of your heart-based business. And I've condensed it in terms of the acronym SAGE. So if you want to bring more sageness into your business, if you want to be the business sage, these are the 4 aspects that I've sort of condensed that will help you remind yourself of what's really true. So SAGE is the acronym for surrender with stillness, assume the feeling, grace and reverence, and what I call exhale with purpose. So I'll go into those, and we'll dive in deep, and we'll give some indications of some key questions you can ask yourself. All right, what do we have? So everyone can see? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I can play the slides. I just won't be able to see the chat when I play the slides. But if you guys, so if you play the slides, we'll get a few of the slides you want to see. I'm okay if you can see these slides over here. It's not in all order. We'll just go through them. But can you see this slide okay? If you can, and we'll continue so that I can see the chat and I can see if you guys have any questions and things like that. All right, amazing. So the first one that consistently comes up all the time, every single thing, whether I'm reading Taoism, other bits of ancient wisdom in terms of Buddhism, whether I'm personal development, spirituality, whatever it may be, how many times do we recognize that in stillness is the real answer, right? We always find the real answer in stillness. And so this is the key. This is what I had to put in here, and it's what I'm calling surrender with stillness. All answers are found in stillness. All answers are found in silence, right? Out here, when we're chasing, when we're going crazy, it's normally driven by our head, normally driven by ego. It's when we go within that we start to do that. And so in stillness, what can we surrender to? We can surrender to both our internal world and our external world, right? Our inner and our outer. So this is the reminder with surrender, to surrender to whatever's happening internally, right? Thoughts, emotions, even our behaviors, right? Surrender to all of it. Surrender and be in acceptance, be in allowance, whatever you want to call it. Because when you do that, you basically become in peace and harmony with yourself, therefore peace and harmony with life. This is what it's all about. No matter what's happening in your thoughts, no matter what's happening in your emotions, being the observer of it, being the observer and just completely accepting and being in surrender. And that's generally a bit easier, I find, than surrendering to the outer, right? How many times are we triggered by something else, by an external circumstance, by other people's behaviors and actions, and especially by outcomes? Right? If only I had this outcome, I'd feel more peace, I'd feel more happy, I'd feel more joy. Right? If only I was to do that, if only I was to have more money, have more clients, have more reach, right? Then I would feel a certain way. I would feel enough. I would feel happy. So this had to be in there. How many times does this come up and how much of this is a reminder? I can almost guarantee if you were to breathe right now and to feel your body and to continue to feel the vibrations, the sensations, the energy within you, you would start to become aware of thoughts and emotions that your ego doesn't want to be there. That you believe a story that they should be different. I shouldn't be having these thoughts. I wish these thoughts would leave. I wish this emotion would leave. Right? I wish I had a pattern of behavior that was different. And exactly the same, the more you start to recognize internally, you can start to notice externally. And say, I'm having this emotion because I think life should be different. Right? I'm having this thought and emotion because I think this should change. This needs to change. And this is where the cycle begins. And even me just asking that question, who noticed something different? Who noticed there's a pattern that they didn't notice before? Who noticed something within them that they caught resistance to? Was there anyone even just in asking that question that came up for you? Maybe type in yes or type in 1, whatever you want to do, and let's see. So I know for me, every time I ask myself this question, every time I'll sit down in meditation and that's what'll happen. Is it like having expectations of things being going in a certain way? Exactly. Now here's the thing. We'll get into this in a little bit of the later slide, but it's okay to have intentions and goals. Just don't be attached to them. Like for me, for example, I have a calling and a pull to have a larger audience, right? I don't necessarily, nowadays, I'm not really attached to money anymore. I'm just thinking of just how I can just give it all away, to be honest. I don't know why. That's just not my calling anymore. But I do have a pull to increase my audience and spread and raise awareness to a larger audience, right? So that's a calling for me. That's a pull. That's a goal. However, I'm not attached to it. Even if that never happens, it's a pull for me to be like, man, that would be awesome. But I'm just not attached to it. I'm just saying that if it never happens, I'm still completely fine. If that never happens, I can still live at just as much peace, just as much love, just as much acceptance and allowance, right? So another way to describe this is have goals and feel and have the goals and be excited about the goals. Just be more excited about now. Kyle C says this. It's just be more excited about now. Be more excited about you than the outcome, right? Oh yeah, I'm attached to having my kids behave a certain way. Exactly. Just finished the surrender experiment. Awesome. Sounds familiar to the stuff you're talking about. I haven't read it. I've done Michael Singer's online course and stuff like that. I'm very familiar with his work. I might need to get the book though. How cool is that? He's like the master of surrender, right? Such a topic that consistently comes up time and time again. So this is the question. This is the one question you can ask yourself. Are you triggered by external business results? Right? Are you triggered by those external results? Are you hooked or attached to them, right? So it's all good to want more money, want more clients, want more reach, want more whatever, travel. Just are you triggered and are you attached to them, right? Barb just started reading it tonight. Very cool. So that's one. Surrender with stillness, right? Surrender with stillness. All answers come in silence. Everything comes in stillness. It's just something that time and time again just comes up, and I've had endless answers flow through me, including what I'm saying now. Right? This comes through flow. It comes through me sitting in silence. Now this one's a big one. Assume the feeling. Or another way of saying this is act as if. Assume the feeling, like Wayne Dyer says, assume the feeling of your wishes fulfilled. For those who have read the book, Wishes Fulfilled or seen his programs, assume the feeling of the thing you want, the thing you really want, right? So feel the feeling as if you already have it and act as if you already have it. Now, this is completely different to being attached to it, right? Can you feel that? Energetically, you can feel it because you're more in peace with the now and more in peace with harmony now, even if you don't get it. And you start to realize that you're the answer that you're actually after, right? Because what you're after is the feeling. What you're deeply after is the feeling you think that thing will get you. So therefore, feeling the feeling ahead of time allows you to realize that everything you need is in the now. Can we feel that? A lot of people, like with the biz tip, the biz question, whatever I have here, a lot of people try to feel and try to want from a place of lack, right? But when we talk about attraction, when we talk about attracting those things we want, when we talk about the coincidences and serendipities and all those things that just flow into our life in a matter of flow, is because you're feeling the feeling of already having it, right? So when you're placing your intention, you're not placing it from a place of, I need this in order to feel this way, right? That will be your attachment. You're feeling the feeling now as if you were to already have it, Therefore, it puts you in this place of oneness with the now, right? The world will mirror what you feel and who you are. The world will not mirror what you want. I say all the time, if you really want it, you're not ready to receive it, right? This is assume the feeling is basically pronouncing that. It's basically saying that if you truly want it, like you want it really bad, you're not ready to receive it because you're attached to that result, right? It means I need that in order to feel this way. I need that to feel enough. I need that to feel safe. I need that to feel happy. You're not really ready to receive it. But if you feel peace, happy, fulfilled now, those things will chase you. Those things will flow into your life because you're feeling the feeling now. And they'll flow into your life because you actually don't really need them to feel enough. But you can actually enjoy them more because you can enjoy them without your hook and attachment to them. Is this resonating? I hope so. Carl says absolutely. Barb's on board. I just had the realization I'm not getting enough right now. Enough stillness, yeah. We need more stillness. There's no excuse in the world we're living in right now, COVID-19. There's no excuse. There's plenty of time for silence, plenty of time for reflection, right? Plenty of time to do some meditation. Let's go to the third, shall we? An hour in the morning isn't enough. My question would be, isn't enough for what? Grace and reverence for life. I'm not even sure if I spelled that right. There's going to be some spelling mistakes in here somewhere. Reverence for life is just like, how many times does this come up in ancient texts or spirituality? Time again. Whether you call it grace, God, infinite intelligence, right? Unity consciousness, the Tao, whether you call it, I don't know, whether you call it whatever. Even in science, they call it the field or Higgs particle, the thing that connects us all. How many names do we have for it, right? It's just the thing that connects us all. The thing that connects us all, the things that's making things happen, right? That's what we're referring to here when we say grace. When I say grace, Tony Robbins calls it grace, but it's the thing that's beating your heart, right? The thing that's allowing nature to unfold the way it's meant to, the thing that's growing your hair and your fingernails, whatever it may be. It's this divine energy that's outside our control, but it's in flow with life. That's what I mean when I see grace. So if you see grace, or now I'm calling like the Tao, since I'm studying so much of this guy Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, notice it in everything. And you start having a reverence for life, right? You'll see the beauty in everything. When you see the beauty in everything, you can't not be at one with everything. You notice we're all connected. Not only all connected, but there's just as much beauty in one thing as there is in another, right? Paul, the book is called The Tao Te Ching. I'll send you a link. It's besides the Bible, it's the #1 translated book in the world. It's by Lao Tzu with 81 chapters of ancient wisdom. It's been called the most wise book in the world. I'm also studying Change your thoughts, change your life. Wayne Dyer lived this for a year and wrote some essays on what he found. And man, huge insights. Every single time I read a chapter, I've been reading one chapter a day and then just meditating on it all day and practicing it and living it. And this is why I'm coming up with this sort of stuff. I'm up to chapter 44. So I'm over halfway through, but just living it and breathing it and applying it in my life. And the more you detach yourself, like the number one thing here is basically, it's the opposite of what we learn in modern day business, which is go out and get more, build your status, right? This says do the opposite and all that will flow in alignment. It's really, really funny. All right. Where was I? So noticing the grace in everything, noticing what, if you want to call it God, the Tao, right? Whatever you want to call it, divine wisdom, infinite intelligence, noticing that energy in this space, noticing it in everything, right? Noticing everything and being in a space of appreciation, of love, just reverence for life. When you do this, you find what I call radical humility. It's also a term in the Tao Ching and what Wayne Dyer says. Radical humility is I'm sliding in this as well, which is seeing yourself as everything. And when you do that, you realize that you're not special. This is I put this in a podcast episode recently. It's holding the energy. When you're in your heart, you can hold the energy of recognizing that you are both insignificant and divine intelligence. But it's recognizing that you're the same, right? You can't take credit for anything. You can't take credit for anything that happens out here or anything that's flowing through here, right? You're just the space. You're just the energy. You're just the channel that it's flowing through. Like for me, I can't take any credit for what I'm saying right now. What flows through me is the truth that will also flow through you when you sit in silence. How can I take credit for that? I can be the channel, right? I can be the channel that you learn this through, but I personally can't take credit for any of it, right? So it's noticing that there's just as much beauty in you as there is in anyone else, no matter what their thoughts, emotions, behaviors, beliefs are. And you find radical humility. One thing in the Tao Te Ching, I also put in a podcast episode. Basically the idea is by putting yourself behind others, you end up in front. By putting yourself below others, you end up on top. Meaning the energy of being in the background allows you to be one with life, and allows you to be in a space of connection, right? Another way of explaining it in the Tao Te Ching is don't try and be the mountain, be the valley. Modern day business teaches us to try to be the mountain, try and go out there and succeed and have all these things and collect all these accolades and achievement, make sure you're out there doing all the stuff with your status. This says do the very opposite and you'll own the whole world, right? When you're the valley, not only are you one with life and not only are you in the place of nurturing all things, but because you're the valley, all things will flow to you. All things flow to you when you're the valley. It's a different energy. Do I have any questions here? You can take credit by aligning to it and sharing it for the better of others. How do you put yourself behind and below others? It's an energy. It's an energy of, from my understanding. So for example, when I'm talking to someone, regardless of what they've done, how they're doing it, whatever, I see them more important than me. Doesn't matter how many Instagram followers they have. I see just as much divinity in them as in myself. Right? And it's an energy of placing them higher. I'm living this. I'm working on it. This isn't something that my ego likes. Something that's very new to me. But it's just that energy, right? So hopefully that makes sense. I'm more than happy to talk more about it. If you guys want, I'll do another podcast episode or do another talk on it. I do as a degree, but I don't feel as significant worthy as them. Not sure if that's a good thing. Well, if you want to get into it, there's no good thing or bad thing, right? There just is. So the question here is, what's your relationship to the now and to your business, right? If you're to see the grace in everything, what's your relationship to the now? Do you need it to be different? Do you want more from it? What about to your business? Do you think your business should be doing better? Do you want more from your business? What's your relationship to it? Do you see it as a struggle? Do you see it as an enemy? Do you see it as a challenge? Or as Eckhart Tolle says, do you see it as a friend? Do you see the now as your friend, regardless of what's happening? Do you see the grace? Do you see the Tao? Do you see God? Do you see infinite intelligence in your business, in the now, in yourself, in other people? Bob says, they are me and I am them. Exactly. This is what you feel energetically when you sit in silence, when you sit in stillness. When I'm talking to someone now, my area of focus, I don't remember this all the time. Trust me, I don't remember it all the time. But my area of focus is see me in them. See me in them. If I see them as me, everything changes. The relationship changes and you can start seeing deeper truths, right? You can start tapping into the deeper levels of intelligence. It's there. Does it exist between you guys? I think I have some Q&As here. What's the name of the training course you took on surrendering? What's it called? I think there was a thing by Sounds True that's with Michael Singer. You get 8 one-hour videos or something like that, and he walks through his teachings. I did that about a year ago. It's so cool. I'll look into it more if you like, and I'll be able to give you more details. I'll see what I can find. I was taught as a child that everyone is more important than me. So I've had to struggle to get myself as just as important as everyone else. In order to do this work, it often takes time with surrender. So in order to feel this fully, that's why surrender's first. If you go to surrendering to your emotions, this is what my work's been all about. This is what you guys are doing so perfectly, right? Is feeling the emotions that are coming up. This is all about surrendering. Surrender to your emotions. If you have doubt, fear, worry about being good enough, you need to surrender to that first. Feel that fully, surrender to that first. Because once you surrender to all of those thoughts, emotions, behaviors, whatever comes up, surrender to external circumstances, external outcomes, that's when you'll start to notice this. You start feeling the grace, you start feeling this energy, you'll start feeling the connection, you'll start feeling all of these deeper level truths. That's why I've been meditating 2 hours a day, right, for the last 7 months or whatever. It's like over 400 hours of meditation. I don't think everyone needs to do that. I don't think it's necessary. It's just my experiment, but that's what I found. Now this next one, exhale with purpose. This actually comes from, all my books are here. This is a book, Toward a Psychology of Awakening. It's not a very popular book, I don't think. It's one I found, I went away and I visited a random bookshop by John Welwood, A Psychology of Awakening. And it's basically coupling ancient wisdom, Eastern philosophies, with Western psychology. And so the way John describes it is the way it resonated with me, so that's why I explain it this way. Surrender to stillness and assuming the feeling and having this internal grace and this internal appreciation for life. That's like inhaling, right? Doing the inner work, Eastern philosophies, looking inward, right? It's almost like breathing in. Exhaling with purpose is almost like breathing out. They couple each other, right? You can't have one without the other, but one aids the other. Breathing, you need to breathe both in and out, which is why I feel so pulled and so excited to work on both ancient wisdom and Eastern philosophies and all those different things, coupling that with modern day business, coupling that with taking action, with taking guided action, with taking all those different things, right? So exhale with purpose is when you've done that inner work, you've taken all of this in, you're starting to surrender at deeper levels, allowing at deeper levels, assuming the feelings that you want to feel, right? Noticing the grace, noticing the appreciation for everything in life, noticing the divinity in everything. And when you do that, you'll get nudges from here. You get nudges from your heart. You can't not do this. I've met a person yet that when they're at peace with this, they're at peace with this, they accept this, they accept this. They don't feel a nudge here from here that says, oh, what if I just did that? Or that has a calling here that says, I want to make this difference, right? And those who are on the call with Christina Lopes, my coach, this question came up a lot around trying to find your calling and saying, what is it that you love? What is it that you're good at? Right? What is that thing that won't go away? What's that calling? What's that pull? This is what emerges with more clarity when you do the first three things. All right, can you feel that? When you do the first three things, when you're at peace with this and this, you start getting nudges from here, which will trigger deeper fears, which deepens your level of connection to yourself, because that's just more and more you can connect with, more and more things to surrender to. So, and to find your calling, right? Ask yourself, what is it that I love? What is it that I'm good at? What is it that I enjoy? That'll genuinely be related to your gifts, and your gifts will generally be related to your calling. So for me, for example, when I started watching Tony Robbins videos and I started watching his interventions, I was like bawling my eyes out. I don't know what it was. I don't know how to describe it, but I just found fascination with people who were having transformations at a point where they could see past their conscious patterns. They could recognize that their conscious patterns were on the surface and there was actually something deeper, right? The areas of frustration or doubt or lack or scarcity was just a deeper need of safety or love or feeling enough. And when people resolve those patterns, everything on the surface shifts. Now, I don't know why, for whatever reason, that hits me here. It hits me here. I could watch those interventions all day, every day. Similar here. I could do these calls all day, every day, talking about this stuff, which is why I do it. Because this is my calling. This is my pull. And so exhale with purpose is taking action that's guided. It's taking action from here. It's taking action that's in flow. What I mean by that is don't take action from resistance, meaning don't try to force things to happen. This goes so much against the Tao, which translates to the book of the way. Tao means the way. One of the most wise books ever written, 2,500 years ago, along with all other ancient texts. What do they say? Don't go against life. Do not go against life. Don't try and force and make something happen, which is what we're taught in business, modern day business, right? Go out, force, hustle, make it happen. That can be in your expansion if you're going from a victim, right? It can feel in your expansion if you're going from a victim where life's happening to you. It can be in your expansion to then go to the level of achiever where you're now starting to make things happen and start to control the direction of your life. What I find is that many people are stuck in that phase. Right? I say this time and time again on these calls, but it's a good reminder. A lot of us are already achieving. We already know that we're in control of our life, right? We already know that our action leads to a particular direction. It's now in our expansion to be in the place of allowing. You flow from here, take your action from here. You surrender to whatever outcome that leads to, and therefore you don't force something to happen. You're not forcing outcomes, you're not forcing results, but you actually just go from here and you go with the flow, right? You just go with the flow. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or put them in the Q&A section. But this is what I call contribution over collection. It's asking yourself the question, how may I serve? Every single day, I ask myself this. It's like my mind gets into this freak out and says, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. If you don't do that, everything's going to fail. If you don't do that, you're not going to make money. If you don't do this, your business is going to go under, whatever. And then I just meditate and I ask myself the question, how may I serve? Right? How may I serve? How can I help? Who can I help? What's my heart pulling me towards? Right? How can I make a contribution over things I want to collect? Contribution over collection. This puts you in the Tao. This connects you with the Tao, with this infinite intelligence. It's when you take action, but you're doing it from a guided place. A lot of the action that can be in your expansion right now is non-action. I can guarantee it comes up all the time in here, in Buddhism, whatever it may be, is the skill of non-action. And Lao Tzu actually says, in non-action, everything else falls into place. It's only from non-action that everything else falls into place. Another way of saying that is the Tao does nothing but leaves nothing undone. And you are a piece of the Tao. If you do nothing, you leave nothing undone. The way I interpret that is, if you do nothing, if you don't force things to happen, you actually start being one with life because you're one with yourself. Therefore, your calling from here will leave nothing undone. You will act to your calling. You will do the thing, you'll be in alignment with the thing you're here to do, the contribution you're here to make, the difference you're here to be, and it will be in flow. You'll be allowing that river to run without trying to jump in there and try and, make it force. And it's a funny metaphor. Like if you imagine a river running, when you try and force something to happen, that's you jumping into the river, trying to speed it up, or even trying to make it change direction, right? When you're in a complete place of surrender, if we're Michael Singer fans, complete place of surrender, right? With stillness. You assume the feeling, you recognize grace or God, or you have a reverence for life. It's from that place that you can be in flow. You can go along with the flow. You just act from here, you just feel from here, and whatever results are meant to come are meant to come. And everything is in divine timing. I was coaching a client yesterday, and this is the main topic. Everything that you're feeling right now is all in divine timing. It's all coming up as it's meant to be come up and be released if you're in surrender. And same with the results in your life. Same with the results in your life. Same with the people in your life. Everything's in divine timing. Everything's happening the way it's meant to. Everything's coming in. Everything's happening for you. Everything's happening for you. So Nicole, so you would be being rather than doing. Exactly. And in being, right, when you're in being, that it encapsulates everything we're talking about here, right? Focusing on being. Just so happens that when you focus on being and you take action from here, everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place because you're at one with yourself, you're at one with life, you're at one with right now. So that question, how may I serve? And the biz tip is to raise the awareness of, are you chasing results? Or are you forcing something to happen? Or are you just acting from here, being in a state of love and being in a state of gratitude? And from that place, you can have a deep knowing that what's coming is meant to come. Living with that peace. That peace alone is worth so much more than the external result itself. Just being in a state of peace, love, joy, right? Appreciation. Go back to here, assuming the feeling of gratitude, appreciation. Having appreciation for the very things in your life and having appreciation for the connection to the thing that's going to get you the external circumstance in the first place, right? When you assume that feeling, that's what takes over. So that's all I have right now. That's all that's coming out. I'm happy to answer any questions. Has there been some key takeaways here? Maybe type in yes or type in 1 if you've had some, if this has been helpful, if it resonates. Follow peace, yes. This is awesome. Yes. Surrender. Completely surrender. Let's see what else I have. You're welcome, Wendy. I love the part about if you really want it bad, you're still attached, then you're not ready for it. Yeah. That's what I believe. Surrender to the outcome and just know that it will be. Yeah. How much peace is in that in and of itself? Even just a few weeks ago, this is a huge insight for me. I did a Facebook Live in the group and stuff like that. I was just embodying this at deeper levels, deeper levels of surrender that I had no clue I could do. But a huge weight off my shoulders once I started realizing, oh, I'm forcing something to happen. I think my effort is attached to the outcome. One thing that I'm starting to saying that I love now is that you can't fly by running faster. How good is that? You can't fly. If you want to fly, you can't fly by running faster. I'm realizing that in order to fly in the way that is a calling, in the way that's aligned for you, it actually takes you to stop running. Stop running. The amount of times Wayne Dyer has told me to stop, even this chapter 44 that I read today, practice knowing when to stop is what it says. Practice knowing when to stop. Make the relationship with the Tao your top priority. This is chapter 44. So key. This is the chapter of enough is enough, he says. Chapter 44 of the Tao Te Ching. When you stop and you go within, you get higher level ideas, higher level creativity, higher level alignment, higher level flow, where that allows you to fly. If you're running and you're pushing and it feels like a push instead of a pull, you're at resistance. You're at resistance to what is, you're at resistance to life, you're at resistance to yourself. And therefore, even if you do find a way to achieve, it won't be enough. And even if you do find a way to achieve, you'll live in fear that you're going to lose it because you are operating from a place of fear to start with, feeling like I need that in order to feel enough. Therefore, you'll be attached to that externally. Nicole, surrender to my outcome and just know what will be. Yeah, totally. I also love jump and grow wings on the way down. That's it. Which will take to mean commit and then surrender and trust. All you need to make that happen will be given to you. Totally. And it's not even, it's deeper than trust. It's like a knowing. Right? When you leap and when you jump, it's not like I trust this is going to happen. It's like, I know this is going to happen. It's like, it's just a knowing, right? If I follow this, I know what I'm going to get, either the opportunities that I wouldn't have received otherwise, or the lessons that I know I'm meant to learn. But either way, I know I'm in the game. When I was at my job, when I was at the restaurant, I left that job. I took that leap, knowing I'm willing to get the opportunities that this will present, or learn the lessons I'm meant to learn. But when I was at the job, I felt like I wasn't in the game. Now I feel like I'm in the game with whatever's meant to happen. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. This is just what's been flowing out of me. This is just the insights and the knowing that I've been coming across time and time again. I'll probably be adding to this more and more. But this is what I feel. You can truly tap into those other areas when you put these 4 in place. When you put these 4 in place and you bring some sageness into your business and you become the sage in your life, everything else just seems to flow. Everything else, in terms of personal development, in terms of spirituality, in terms of all your studies, whatever it may be, this is sort of like the base. Maybe you guys can help me coming up with other analogies. But I find even with the heart, these are like the 4 chambers of the heart, right? Just having this is just from a heart place business. This helps a thriving business. Is placing this into your modern day business. Then you can couple tactics, tools, strategies, sales, marketing, whatever it may be. Couple all of that with this. And you'll find more expansive ways to serve, more expansive ways to make a difference, more expansive ways to be in a place of, place of that example that you want to be. Awesome, guys. I think that's all we have right now. Any other lasting questions before we finish up? I want to welcome you guys here. I want to say thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys in the group. For those of you who might be new, same day and time every week. Same day and time every week. So I'm looking forward to doing more of these and going deeper into these topics, deeper into these different channels, and then also updating you on what I'm learning more and more. I haven't finished this. Haven't finished it. I'm still diving in deeper on a lot of stuff, a lot of different things, and so that's what I'm excited to share more with you guys. So enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys in the group. Feel free to create your own posts or comments or whatever it may be. If you have any big insights or breakthroughs here, I'll be more than happy to continue the conversation in there. So thanks so much, guys. You guys have been awesome. Love it so much. Cheers.